Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Monday, February 12th, Super Bowl Monday, day after the Super Bowl. Should absolutely be a national holiday. There's no question about it. The Chiefs are the champs. Not going to talk too much about that right here, right now. The show rolls on for Duval Daily. We are not a Chiefs show, but if you do want some Super Bowl analysis, you can go check out my other page, Rogue Football, here on YouTube. But it's Monday, so it's going to be a mock draft Monday for us here. Not a lot going on in Jags land right now. We are going to have some fun with this mock draft, right? We've done a lot of different things, predictive. We've done what I would do. In this one, we're going to focus on what could some trades look like potentially for the Jaguars in this 2024 NFL draft, right? We're going to talk about what the Jaguars could do in the first round if they want to trade, second round as well. We're going to execute a couple trades. It's going to end up being what I would do, because if you listen to Trent Baalke, he'll probably tell you no one's willing to trade with him. That's what he said after last year's draft. He did trade back in the first round, so got to give him credit for that. Trade back and still land. Anton Harrison trade back twice. But then he traded down again and passed up on somebody who could have really helped Jaguars interior in the second round. Osiris Torrance there. Don't need to talk too much about that. Again, this is going to be what I would do. So the Jaguars currently have the 17th overall pick. What could make sense for the Jaguars in terms of a trade scenario? Usually, the rule for me is you're not really trading up in the first round unless you're landing a quarterback, a franchise quarterback, because usually you just have to give up so much value, so many draft assets, whatever assets, other assets you're willing to give up to get a player that they've got to make a massive impact. They've got to be a team leader. And the quarterback position is the position that can impact the game the most. So usually I'm not really for trading up unless you're landing that type of impact. Now, one of the exceptions for me would be this year. Let's say like Romo Dunze or Malik Neighbors falls into the teens. If you have to give up a little bit to get up there and draft one of those guys to give to Trevor Lawrence as a legitimate alpha number one wide receiver, I could see that. I could certainly see that. You know, Odunze, big 6'3", almost 220 pounds, but he runs really well. Former track guy, super smooth route runner. Creates late separation, has late hands. And then you talk about Malik Neighbors. I mean, he's the most explosive mover in this draft. But in this scenario here on NFL Mock Draft Database, neither of those guys fell to the teens, and I think that's pretty realistic. I don't necessarily think that that's going to happen. Obviously, there's other great receivers, prospects, very good receiver prospects. Nobody that I think's willing or worth trading up for, really, from the 17 spot. So I'm looking at trading down. You can acquire some extra draft capital, which then could help you move up for a player you love later in the draft, or just add more players to your roster, right? Add more quality pieces. So in this scenario, I'm trading down from 17 to 22, acquiring an extra third and fifth round pick. There's a lot of guys on the board I really like. So why not trade down? You know, you're based on what you're seeing, that you're going to land a player you really are a big fan of. And at 22, Jerzon Johnny Newton is still on the board out of Illinois. He is so good. Number 6 prospect on my board, a blue chipper. His arms are probably not long enough for Trent Baalke or some other GMs. I don't care. The guy is tough as nails. He plays maximum effort every play. He's technically refined. He is explosive. I think the rarest trait he has is the flexibility he has at his size. It's just insane. He will be a 3-down player. I think he can play really effectively from 5 tech into 3 tech, anywhere in between. You want him to pin his ears back and go get the quarterback, go attack the backfield, but he can play stout football at the point of attack as well. You drop him in there in the middle of that defensive front with a Devon Hamilton, a healthy Devon Hamilton, hopefully, Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker. That could be a really nice starting front for you. And Jerzon Newton and Josh Allen would probably be the two best, most talented guys there. Obviously, Trayvon Walker is an ascending talent as well. And Devon Hamilton, if you get him back playing how he was in 2022 and then into the 2023 offseason, if you get him back playing how he was in 2022 and then into the 2023 offseason, training camp, preseason, all that fun stuff before the back issue popped up, I mean, that could be a massively different defensive front, right? That could be a defensive front that really helps control the football game for you, both against the run and the pass. So I would love to see the Jaguars be able to add Jerzon Newton, whether it's at 17, 22, whatever it is. Johnny Newton would be a great addition to the Jacksonville Jaguars, but not a Trent Baalke type of guy, probably. We'll see how it plays out. Now, second round. We're going to talk about that right here, but want to say, if you enjoy the content here, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can also check out ginjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear. So, getting into the second round, again, we have acquired some extra draft capital. So now if there's a player falling down the board into the 30s, maybe we trade up a player that we love, right? And that's exactly what happens here in this scenario. Jackson Powers Johnson falling into the mid-30s. He's a center, short arms, maybe doesn't blow up the combine. So maybe he does fall out of the first round. I mean, I think it'd be crazy, personally. But center is not a high-value position. It should be, but it's not. Again, short arms. Maybe you don't blow up the combine as much as some other guys. So yeah, he's fallen to 39 overall here, and we're going to pick up the phone and trade with the New York Giants and get Jackson Powers Johnson for the middle of our offensive line. And now you've just drafted two blue chip prospects at 22 and 39 overall. And you've massively upgraded your interiors on both sides of the football. Jackson Powers Johnson, despite not having the longest arms, he has everything else you could hope for in a center prospect. And unlike most center prospects that come out as highly valued guys, he's huge. Not too tall, 6'3", but he is over 330 pounds. But he moves like a guy that's 310 pounds. Like, he is an awesome athlete at his size. And he has unbelievable hands. He is constantly working to reset his hands, get them high and inside of his opponent. And if his opponent gets hands on him, he does such a good job of countering and getting the hands off and continuing to work. When he gets in compromising situations, you see the recovery, you see the anchor, you see him just blowing guys up at the second and third level of the defense. This is a guy that changes the game for your interior offensive line in a big, big way. And again, you have now completely transformed the interiors of both lines of scrimmage. You've done it with two top 10 prospects on my board. That would be wild, but not unrealistic, truly. Jerzon Newton, some people think Byron Murphy's a better prospect. I mean, who knows? Maybe Tavondre Sweat sneaks up in there. But for me, Jerzon Newton is far and away the best interior defensive lineman in this class. The rest of this draft is kind of silly, in my opinion. Roman Wilson falls to the third round, as you see Murray joining us in the background here, finding her comfy spot. Roman Wilson falls to the third round, 96 overall. Give me that at 96 overall all day. Another guy who is tough as nails. He is going to bring the effort every single play to your roster, to your offense. He brings tremendous speed, unbelievable quickness, excellent hands. I have a first-round grade on Roman Wilson, late first. Trevor Lawrence would love to have that guy in Jacksonville. Guarantee you that. His teammate, another tough, smart, instinctive, versatile player, Mike Sainristil, out of Michigan. Not the biggest or the fastest, but he is a playmaker. He is versatile. Can play some nickel, some safety, even some outside and zone looks. You get him at 114 overall. This is a guy that's helping, again, to transform your secondary. You pair him with Andre Sisco, with Tyson Campbell, Darius Williams, another guy that we're going to draft a little bit later on here. At 116 overall, I think this is a good spot, generally speaking, and who knows how it'll end up playing out on draft day. But I think this is a good spot to look at edge, specifically a designated pass rusher type of player to come in and help behind Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, help get some pressure on the quarterback. Obviously, I do think the Jaguars should also pursue that need in free agency. But if you go get a guy in free agency that can be a DPR type, or even just a guy that can be a 3-down skill set type of player, whatever it may be, and then also get someone who can play the edge for you in the draft, now you're looking at 4 guys that can really play. You're looking at trying to develop Yasir Abdullah. I think that could be really good for the Jaguars in 2024 and beyond. And the guy I like here that's on the board is Muhammad Kamara, Colorado State. I think he has a chance to be a Melvin Ingram type player. I see a lot of similarities in their builds and in the way they play the game. Compact build, but super violent hands, plays the leverage game very well, can rush the passer at an extremely high level, a bevy of pass rush moves and hand counters, enough flexibility, a real disruptor. And talk about getting that at edge in the 4th round. I'd be impressed. 169 overall. Renardo Green, I mean, come on, people. He is ranked in the 200s on the NFL Mock Draft database, not in the top 100 at the Draft Network, not in the top 100 at Pro Football Network. He is 83 at PFF, but even that's disrespectful to me. So until I see him start really moving up these boards, I'm going to keep drafting him on day 3. He's a day 2 player for me. He's an early round 2 player out of Florida State. He is a press man corner, plays the game physically, but he has tremendous quickness, fluid hips, speed. He's got it all. So yeah, that would be really easy for me. Garrett Greenfield's another prospect we've talked about. He should be a top 100 guy. I don't see him top 100 anywhere out of South Dakota State, the left tackle. He's got length. He's athletic. He keeps his quarterback clean. That's the type of project out of a small school you want to bring in, right? Garrett Greenfield. Marcus Rosemy-Jack Saint out of Georgia. He catches everything. He's going to upgrade your wide receiver room. So I'm going to take him there. And then with the final pick, Will Reichard out of Alabama. We've talked about him a lot on the channel. I'm not a kicking expert, not a scout of kickers, right? But he has looked really good and looked tremendous for Alabama. Was perfect on extra points, perfect on kicks of 50-plus yards in 2023. So yeah, that's how this draft plays out again. We're focusing on kind of the trade aspects of the NFL draft and what the Jaguars could potentially do there. But really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Y'all have a good one.